Hello and welcome to another round of Championship predictions from the On Sport podcast. I'm Craig Savage, and with me as always is Mr. Daniel Cody. Let's have a quick recap what we predicted on match day 25. 5 games called off, but that still doesn't matter. There's one perfect score. That was Mr. Daniel Cody's on Middlesbrough's late winner against Blackpool. No perfect score for me. 3 points to Daniel Cody's 5. I were on perfect scores throughout the Thursday, but late drama again. So let's get on with match day 26. It's 2022. The first game of that is Sheffield United versus Middlesbrough. Chris Wilder returns to Sheffield United for the first time since last season, and he'll be buoyed with that last-minute winner.
Yeah, he will. And again, we start in a very similar vein to how we try to predict most of midweek, don't we? New year, same problem, which is one team's played 2 games and won 2 games pretty well. They've scored goals. Sheffield United haven't played at all, so we haven't got a clue how to assess them. But they're arguably, if you threw Blackburn into the mix, they're probably 2 of the 3 form teams in the league, I would argue, at the minute, the way they're playing. So it's going to be a very difficult game to judge. Middlesbrough, I hate to say it, because we both predicted them to be in the playoffs earlier in the season before, obviously, the injuries and Neil Warnock going. But that was the sort of promotion performance, wasn't it? The late winner, the grasping one after it looked like you'd let it slip. And I think the signs are really good. They're only going to strengthen in January. So 1 or 2 additions to that squad, they could be brilliant. They're in wonderful form. Sheffield United had won 4 on the bounce. I could be taking back everything I said about Paul Heckingbottom if he keeps it going. I really don't know what to go for this. I think, look, the games are going to catch up with Middlesbrough eventually. And Sheffield United, I know they've had a rest. They've only played 2 games in December going into this new year. But they did play on the 20th, so it's not the huge break that other teams have had. I'm going to go for 1-1. I'm going to sit on the fence to start, sorry.
Yeah, this has a bit of a 1-1 game. I think Chris Wilder, obviously, first return. Sheffield United fans, obviously, this basically this is a goodbye, because obviously left last season under no fans, and Sheffield United fans didn't really get to say goodbye to him. And obviously, what a way to start the new year with him returning to Bramwell Lane. Going to be a tough game. It will be a tough game. Middlesbrough, obviously, on good form. Obviously, won against Forest on Boxing Day, and then got the winner here later on against Blackpool. And there's something different about this Middlesbrough side that's really gelling, and is gelling quick. And they're finding ways to win the game in late circumstances like that. I think they're going to sneak this one. I think it'll be the odd goal. I'm going to go 1-0 to Middlesbrough. Right, next up is the team that Middlesbrough beat. It's Blackpool. They're at home again to Hull City. Blackpool got the equaliser in the 91st minute from Shane Lavery, and then lost it again. And you look at the defending from that, you can't lose the ball there in that area of the pitch and then get caught like that.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, firstly, Shane Lavery, thank you for continuing to prove the point that I made at the start of the season. The only thing I've got right so far. But
no, Barnsley at the moment.
Oh, and Barnsley as well. Sorry, that's spot on. But yeah, aside from that, not much. But as you mentioned, the defending after equalising in stoppage time, it was, I don't know whether it's maybe, I guess, a disadvantage of having the crowd is you then feel you could push on, but it's a sad way to lose a game. And it's becoming a bit of a trend now. We mentioned it against Huddersfield, obviously after the red card, conceding 2 goals there. A narrow defeat against Derby. They sort of wilted later on against Luton after conceding 1 just before the break. So there are worrying signs. The positive I'm taking is the only game they've won in that spell throughout December is Peterborough at home, which on paper you would say is a similar fixture to Hull at home. Hull, after a very good spell, they were one of the form teams in the league, weirdly. 3 games without a win. They've started conceding goals again, but they haven't played for 2.5 weeks now. So how do you judge that? I'm going to judge it as a crucial Blackpool win. I think Hull are going to be right back in the bottom 3 mix. I'm going to go for Blackpool to win by 2-1. I think it will be ugly, and I think it will be decided by mistakes.
This is a game, obviously, Blackpool, as you said, probably needed again. They are finding it tough against established championship sides lately, but they're playing teams, obviously, another team that got promoted last season with Peterborough. So that's that sort of game they need to bounce back on. Whether Hull can fill the team is another story. We'll have to wait and see. At the time we were recording this on New Year's Eve. So at the moment, nothing else has been called up by the 2 games I will say in a minute. But Blackpool needs one. Who knows about Hull? I'm going to Championship favourite scoreline of 1-1. Right, next up, Coventry Luton is off. That is the game you're going to. So let's move on to Bristol City versus Millwall, Ashton Gate. And once again, for the 6th time this season, Bristol City conceded in the 90th minute.
Yeah, and not only that, I think after Huddersfield and QPR, we can say the little home bounce is over now, can't we? Back to usual for them, as you mentioned, late goals. It's something, to be fair, we both highlighted at the start of the season. They hadn't improved enough in the summer. They hadn't brought in enough players. They didn't have a deep enough squad. And it's coming back to harm them, because I know they had a week and a half off there, but where you've got players coming back from COVID and you're having to force 90 minutes into people, you can't rotate in key positions. It does make a difference. Millwall, though, a brilliant win at Coventry. It's got to be said. They're a team that probably could have pushed for that game to be off. They named 7 subs, including kids. They brought on a 15-year-old in second half stoppage time. And do you know what? It doesn't really matter what the performance was like. It's a fantastic result against one of the best teams at home in the league. So massive respect for them. The issue you have to ask, with them not able to fill a bench, with them relying on youth players coming in, if they haven't got a few more back for this weekend, I know they've got the extra day, which might help. Are they going to be able to do that twice in 3 or 4 days? And that's where my concern is. So despite the fact Bristol City, bar a couple of games, have been atrocious at home, I'm going to sit on the fence again. But I think this time I'm going to have to go for a goalless draw. I know Bristol City make mistakes at home, but I think it will be a pretty flat game. I've got to be honest.
Well, I can't understand why what is Bristol City's mentality in the by 90th minute? I don't get it. I don't know where I saw the stat earlier about when I said Bristol City conceded 6. There's only 5 for the whole, for one team the whole last season, and we're at 6 and we're in the halfway stage. So that's very concerning for Nigel Pearson, that his team can't get over the line after 90 minutes. That mentality of, right, we think it's done, it's haunting them. They conceded 2 to Forest in that same time in one game. So, and Luton, and obviously now recently with QPR. So, yeah, something's not right there. Millwall, on the other hand, fantastic result. I think that's probably the result of the month, in my opinion, because they came out early on and said, look, we've only got 15 players. One's a 15-year-old kid, and they picked up the points. I'm going home. So happy days. That's a brilliant result for them. Take the points, go home. Well done to them. They're going to do it again this weekend for me. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win at Ashton Gate for Millwall. Next up is Birmingham City versus QPR. Birmingham didn't play. QPR got that late winner at Bristol City.
Yeah, come back. Obviously, they had the difficult day against Bournemouth, but the crucial confidence that will come from win. I don't really think it mattered how they did it in the end. I think it was just important they got the result. In truth, it was a pretty even game, but they took advantage of Bristol City's late frailties again. And that will give them momentum because they're still in that playoff mix. I know they've dropped out because they're a couple of games behind, but they're still one of the favourites for it for me. And they're playing a Birmingham side who, look, they might have even been glad for the break after 3 games where they conceded 9 goals and only picked up 1 point. I do think they'll put in a decent display in this game, but you have to back a QPR win. It's the sensible bet in there. The 5th best team on the road. They've won 5 games already. I'm going to make it 6, 2-1.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where Birmingham can start winning again. It's been a struggle for them. Let's say players have been out. I think the loss of Che Chong has been a blow, a real blow for them, because he was on fire at the start of the season. Yeah, I'm struggling to think where they can pick up the result. And QPR, not pretty, but I think these are the games at this time of the year when you don't win pretty well, you don't play well, but get the 3 points. It's a good team, and you need to go over the line, especially December to February. I think they're going to do that. Oh, you went 2-1, didn't you? I was going to say that. I'm going to go 1-0 to QPR. Right, next up, it's Blackburn versus Huddersfield at Ewood Park. Blackburn 5 wins in a row. Huddersfield 3 wins in a row. So this is making of a good game.
Yeah, and 5 unbeaten for Huddersfield as well, because a couple of 1-1 draws before it. And picking up late winners, picking up crucial goals, wins by the odd goal, and Blackburn are doing what Blackburn do best. I know they conceded their goal against Barnsley, but they still won the game. They're still scoring goals for fun. Obviously, we're in that season now. There's been so much talk about Ben Brereton Diaz this week, and it might have an impact, but I don't think it will by the 2nd of the month. So they'll be all right there. Huddersfield, we have to say, have been probably better at home this season. They've won 7 of their home games, only 4 on the road. But they don't lose by many normally. So as much as Blackburn are one of the best scorers, they've scored 30 goals at home now in 13 games, which when you consider they got battered by Fulham at home as well is pretty remarkable. They're the best team at home in the league as it stands. You have to bank on Blackburn, but I don't think it's going to be a very comfortable one. I'm tempted to go for 3-1 for the old late goal on the counter, but yeah, 3-1. 3-1. I think they'll nick a late one.
I think this is going to be a draw. I was going to say 2-2 to start with, but I'm going to go Championship favourite scoreline 1-1. I think Huddersfield might frustrate Blackburn here. I think where Blackburn have been a bit free open, and Huddersfield, I think, might constrict Blackburn to win. Barnsley tried to do that on the other day, and in the end, they got over the line, Blackburn. But obviously, Huddersfield are better side than Barnsley at the moment. But Blackburn obviously on fantastic form. Huddersfield on fantastic form. I think Championship favourite scoreline of 1-1. Right, next up is West Brom versus Cardiff. West Brom didn't play. Cardiff lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. And once again, they're away from home. Have not kept a clean sheet in the last 11 away games.
Yeah, and they're conceding goals galore, aren't they? 3 against Bournemouth. I know they had weeks off before that, but even then it was 2 against Birmingham, 3 against Sheffield United. Cardiff conceded 42 goals this year, only topped by Peterborough. It's ridiculous. And that's the sort of form that relegate you. It's nearly 2 goals a game. They are a little bit better under Steve Morrison. I know they mentioned a lot of the squad had COVID before, and they are better away from home. They've got the worst league record at home. Away from home, they've picked up 4 wins already. So based on their away form, they'd be a top half side. West Brom, God knows what to predict, honestly. The only thing you can assure with West Brom is it's going to be settled by 1 goal either way. And I genuinely don't know which way to go. They've gone 2 in a row without scoring. They were against the 2 bottom teams in the league. I know Derby wouldn't be there. It's a false position, but still, I don't know where the inspiration's coming. I've got a feeling it will be their last league game before the name I keep mentioning, Daryl DK, turns up. But I'm going to go for 1-0 to West. No, I can't do 1-0. 2-1 to West Brom. 2-1 to West Brom. But I genuinely have no idea. I think it's the hardest one of the week.
I think, I'm going to change my mind. I did write 1-0 now because you changed your mind. But I'm going to change my mind again. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm not expecting a quality game. West Brom have been disappointing lately, but they are better at home than they are away. Cardiff can frustrate teams away from home. I think they could possibly do that. I'm going to go Championship favourite scoreline of 1-1. Next up is Nottingham Forest versus Barnsley. Nottingham Forest lost again. 2 losses in a row, which I did say Huddersfield will beat Forest. Yeah. Thank you very much. And Barnsley, I know they lost to Blackburn, but it was a better performance.
Yeah, it was a better performance. And you could, I guess the one thing I want to say for Barnsley against Blackburn is I know you mentioned it wasn't pretty and it was a bit trying to constrict Blackburn potentially, but there was a game plan, and bar a couple of moments, they largely performed it pretty well. And they have been better defensively in recent games under the new manager. So you can see that work's happening. The problem is that they had a poor manager at the start of the season, which will ultimately cost them. Forest, on the other hand, I know you say it was another defeat, and you were about the only man on the internet predicting a Huddersfield win, but Forest dominated the game. Nearly 60% of the ball, twice the amount of shots, 3 times the shots on target, but it doesn't matter. You've got to take them. And the scoreline was 1-0 defeat. Couple of games now without a goal, but a more promising performance than the Borough one. And against Barnsley, look, it's a game, if they really do harbour playoff ambitions, they have to win. So I'm going to go to Forest to win, but I think Barnsley are going to try and restrict them again. I'm actually going to go for 1-0. 1-0 to Nottingham Forest.
No, they won't win, Barnsley. Sorry, guys. No, I think Barnsley will do the same thing again with the game plan, try and frustrate Forest. Obviously, Forest had loads of chances against Huddersfield, but they didn't take it. And it felt a bit like deja vu of the previous 2 managers, but there's a bit more stability with this Forest side now. But I do think Forest will win this game. I'm going to go 2-1 to Forest. Next up, it's Reading versus Derby, and the fight is still going for Derby.
You've got to say, look, take aside what our preconceptions were, take away what we've said in recent weeks. Regardless of what happens, it's a brilliant effort. I genuinely hope that they can get a deal sorted for the ownership of the club in early January and let Wayne Rooney do some transfer work, because given what him and the squad and the coaching team, which needs to take a lot of credit, have done in the first half of this season, they deserve a proper crack at it. And only 11 points behind now. Reading are not in good shape. They're going to be playing more catch-up than anyone else in the league virtually. And there's teams like Cardiff and Hull who are going to be dropping down the league at the rate they're going. So Derby aren't completely out of it yet, despite what I may have said a few weeks ago. And this game is arguably the most important of their season because it is Reading who are in 21st place. It's a Reading side that are thin on the ground, haven't played for over 3 weeks when the time we get to the game. And Derby have won 3 games in a row, but Derby have got a thin squad too. They're playing every 3 days. The extra day, I think, will be a blessing in disguise for them. I have to back them to win again. I have to do it. I don't know if it's more my heart or my head at the moment because I'm kind of getting invested in the way they're fighting back, but I'm going to go for 1-0 to Derby.
It's because you're managing with Football Manager. That's what
I know. 1-0 Derby, though.
I think Derby with this game as well because I don't know what Reading sides are going to turn up. Reading haven't played for like forever. Well, same with most of the teams here now. They haven't played forever. But I don't know because Reading obviously had so many injuries. That's what was the start of the downfall of games being called off, and then probably COVID happened. And I don't know what to expect from Reading. I really don't. And this is probably hard to call because Derby are flying at the moment and fair play to them. And they win by goals. That's the annoying thing about it. But they did score 2, which is pleasing. They actually got more than 1 away from home. 2-0 Derby.
Oh, that's bold.
I'm not sure of that one. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet, but I'm going to go, 2-0 Derby. Anyway, next up, it's Stoke City versus Preston North End, and Stoke lost to Derby 2-1. Preston didn't play, but let's go to Stoke. Stoke, I don't know, really. Where do you think went wrong for them?
I was almost baffled, to be honest. It wasn't just the result. It was the performance. We've seen Derby before be defensive and nick games, but Derby were the better side. They had a bit less of the ball, but Stoke managed 1 shot on target in 90 minutes against a side who, even without the points deduction, would be in mid-table. So there's definitely concerns there. They didn't create anything clear-cut really in the match. And in truth, they probably didn't deserve to get a goal. So it was a bit of a worry. I guess the one positive is the man who scored the goal was Tom Ince, who seems to be getting a few peripheral squad members that are starting to contribute a little bit again. But some of their stars aren't quite in top form and some of them aren't available at the moment too. So I'm a little bit worried about Stoke. Preston's a weird situation, isn't it? Because we obviously had the first game for Ryan Lowe against Barnsley, which they just about got through. And now he hasn't played for 3.5 weeks. And depending on the situation behind the scenes, which we'll never know, you don't know how many of the 11 he's been able to train with, how much he's been able to work on shape, on tactics, on pressing, on attacking set pieces, which we know are so crucial in the Championship. We have no idea what we're going to get. I'm going to bank on Stoke reacting because they can't be as bad as they were against Derby. Preston will be well drilled. This is going to be the game of the week against all the odds. I think it's the only one that's not even on the red button on Monday. So it's going to be the game of the day. It's going to be 2 apiece and both sides will be at their best. I can tell you don't agree.
No. I don't know what Preston are going to turn up. Stoke were crap against Derby. I'm going to go 1-0 to Stoke. Right, Swansea versus Fulham is off. So the final game is Bournemouth versus Peterborough. Bournemouth, that obviously top of the table, got points clear now. Obviously got rely on Fulham catching up. And that 3-0 performance was typical Bournemouth again.
It was, yeah. It was a really good return to form. I think you mentioned at QPR, the manner of the performance signalled a return, and the Cardiff game confirmed it. Really good performance from them. Peterborough, again, hard to judge, haven't played for a couple of weeks, but we've banged on about their away form all season. They've conceded 33 goals on the road. The next worst is 24 for Cardiff. So it's combined with the fact they've scored 6, which is the least in the league. They've only beaten Hull on the road and lost the 11 others. Bournemouth are one of the best teams at home. I mean, I think this is going to be, I think it'll be the only very comfortable victory I've predicted. I think most of the others have been tight. There could be a shock. There could be a turn up for the books. The Championship does this to you, but I'm going big. I think it's going to be a bit of a slaughter. I'm going to go for 4-0 to finish to Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'm going to go one less. I'm going to go 3-0. And it's nothing on Peterborough at all. Bournemouth are just far too good. And if I'm going to say it again, it's going to be, I'm going to predict 3-0 to Bournemouth, but it'll probably end up 1-1. But yeah, Bournemouth, they're getting ahead, winning the games comfortably. Obviously, the extra man did help them. But obviously, Peterborough, they're going to fight. They have to pick up points away from home, and this is going to be a very tough test to get something out of this game. So it's nothing on Peterborough, nothing negative. I do have respect for them, but I think it's going to end 3-0. Let's have a quick recap what we predicted for match day 26, and tight games for me: 1-1s, 1-0s, 2-1s. But Bournemouth, I think we both agree that Bournemouth are going to score loads of goals against Peterborough. And those are predictions for match day 26. Do you agree with us or disagree with us? Let us know in the comment section down below. Give us your predictions for this New Year's edition of the Championship. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Honest Football Podcast, and you can follow us on Twitter at HonestFootball3. For myself and Daniel, we wish you a happy 2022. And we'll see you next time.